We are live. Fantastic. Hello, Vegan FTA Philippines. You look familiar. Hello, everyone. Hey, it's Mel and Steve. How are you? Hello. How are we? Hope you're having a nice day, evening, morning. So you hate meat. What do you mean by so you hate meat? What about it? I hate killing. Exploitation and killing. So this is Ask a Vegan. Now, as you will see, I will try and answer questions from the chat. But there is a lovely comment box. It's a speech bubble with a question mark. If you have a question, do you ever get an intrusive thought to eat meat? Well, intrusive thoughts, they are a genuine thing where you may have thoughts about doing things that you don't think are morally acceptable. So yeah, the bit like, I worry sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, like, I've had dreams where I've accidentally like eaten animals and I've woken up like, ugh. And it's felt disgraceful. How much vegan pizza is too much? I guess too much is however much you cannot any longer eat. Here's a question, should I eat meat? If it's vegan meat, then yeah. If it's like flesh coming from an individual who's been killed and exploited, the answer is no. If you're wondering why, then the question is, would it be appropriate to do that to human beings? And if you think, why are you bringing up human beings? Just think, well, what's the morally significant difference between humans and other animals that would make a distinction in that context the case? Why do vegans not like meat but want to imitate it? What do people mean by that question? Because when you think of like meat, like a burger, it doesn't look like a dead animal, does it? Like, I want a burger. I just don't want any individual to have been like exploited and killed for it. I don't want like an animal having their throat like cut or being gassed so I can enjoy a burger. But like, I don't know why people act like, oh, it's vegans who try and imitate things. And yeah, but if we look at it, we a lot of the time are removing the animal element from the animal we're eating. But yeah, basically, it's one of those things where vegans are set up to lose either way. Say if we didn't have burgers, say if we didn't have pizzas, say if we didn't have hot dogs that were vegan, it would be, oh, vegans, what do you eat? You have nothing. You just want to eat lettuce, you know? But if we have those options, it's, oh, you want to imitate meat so badly? I don't get it. You've been vegan for 6 years? Very good. What do you answer when someone defends themselves by saying plants also feel pain? Well, firstly, I'd ask them for the evidence, because nowhere in the scientific consensus does it say that plants feel pain. You might see those things that say plants can hear themselves being eaten or things like that, but it's personification. It's personification of these plants. They're not individuals. They haven't got pain receptors or anything. So it's really weird to say that they do feel pain. There's no scientific consensus on that whatsoever. And even if there were, say in this hypothetical realm, there were this plant that could feel pain, or all plants could feel pain, let's say that hypothetically, we would still be, what's the word I'm looking for? It would still be incumbent upon us to be vegan, because then we're cutting out the middleman. We are feeding all these plants to animals to then kill them. Why do people need to be vegan? The same reason they need to not, be killing people. The same reason we need to be like human rights advocates and not like the otherwise, because then that means individuals are exploited, individuals suffer, individuals have tremendously negative experiences because of us. So if you are not vegan, you are paying for individuals to be stabbed, to be gassed, to be, boiled alive, to be exploited, to have their babies taken away from them, to be mutilated. And do you really want that on your conscience? We're talking about individuals, like us, who have the capacity to suffer and experience well-being. What do you want to say to those forcefully breeding animals for meat and for their satisfaction? Well, what I want to say is not very appropriate for... How long have I been vegan? I've been vegan for 10 years, nearly. It'll be 10 years in June. Why do some vegetarians eat fish? Because some people are silly billies and don't understand that fish are animals and are not vegetables. I don't know where this concept has come from. It's very bizarre. I want to be vegan, but how to intake nutritions and stuff? I'm guessing you mean how to get your nutrition. I mean, there's multiple ways you can do it through your diet. Making sure that you have a balanced diet is something that's recommended for everybody. So balanced diet, as well as that, supplements are recommended for people a lot of the time, just to make sure, because modern life is very busy. So it's quite difficult to, fill in all the gaps all the time. So I take a multivitamin, a very good multivitamin every single day now. I have a personal trainer right now, so I'm trying to bulk up for strength. And I am getting, I'm supposed to be getting about 169 grams of protein a day. But even that, I'm bulking, so obviously I'm eating more. But even if I'm eating within the recommended daily amount, I'm eating over 100 grams of protein a day, and I don't even have to try. It's, your protein, your fat, your carbohydrates, easy to get. And if you're talking about your macros, I don't know if you've ever tried to track your macros, but it's quite hard to get them every single day, all of the time. So it's good to it's just so easy to just pop a supplement to know, oh, okay, I'm filling in the gaps. How to become a vegan? That is a good question. How to become a vegan? So I'll just kind of explain how I did it. I was just like one day, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go vegan. So I'm not going to buy flesh. I'm not going to buy milk that's dairy milk. I'm not going to buy any dairy products. I'm not going to buy products with eggs. I'm not going to buy products that are tested on animals. I'm not going to be doing any of that sort of stuff. And then I was kind of researching what I could eat instead. I went to the supermarket and looked in the vegan section to try and find out all my favorite foods, what can I replace them with? So I did that. I was looking at recipes so that I could think of ideas to what to eat, because I'm not the best person for creativity in the food realm. So I did that. And yeah, you just kind of want to research different ingredients. There are things that you wouldn't think are in your food that are actually disgusting. There's something called Elle. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but a lot of the time it can be in things like wraps, and it's the hair and feathers of animals put in as a binding agent. It's honestly disgusting. So learning about these things would be really good, because I don't know about you, but I want to know what's in my food anyway, vegan or not. And then just go for it. This habit shifting, that's all you're doing. You are saying, okay, I am now going to change my habits. So that will be a bit of changing your food, a bit of changing the household products, your cosmetics and everything. And yeah, it's as simple as that. I think people overcomplicate it, make it seem like this big thing. But trust me, I'm a really lazy person and I made it work. So it's much easier than you think. Can we live fully cruelty-free life? I don't think so. Not in even the human context. So this kind of expectation that's put on vegans a lot of the time to live fully cruelty-free, like, oh, you will never, like, you like kill some animals, so therefore you should just not bother like stopping in any way. It's like, well, I'm not sure if my life is cruelty-free against humans. Like, I'm sure my presence on this planet means that somebody else suffers, or somebody else doesn't get something that they need that would fulfill their well-being because I'm in the way. That doesn't suddenly mean I have jurisdiction to do worse things, to commit rights violations. So I don't think you can, but I think that's an impossible standard. Can you share recipes? I don't have any off the top of my head. I don't really, like, when I make recipes at the moment, they're very protein focused. So they're not really like as much taste focused. There's like seasoning and everything, but I'm not going for the most delicious things at the moment. I'm looking for high protein, which is funny. People don't realize that as a vegan, you can easily get so much protein. It's like hilarious. It's not even hard. Yeah. Please leave your questions in the, there's a comment bubble with a question mark. But burger is made out of bread and bread is made out of yeast microbe. Isn't we eating a living thing? Okay, so there's this misconception between living and sentient. They are two very different things. Vegans are focused on sentience. So sentience is the capacity to experience, the capacity to suffer, to experience well-being. So I'm a sentient being, you're a sentient being. A microbiome or like a bacteria, it is living. It's a cell, but it's not sentient. It's not an individual with an experience. So why would you be concerned with the suffering of something that cannot suffer? How to avoid the taste of non-veg? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm sorry. Have you ever had a vegan meat? Well, yeah, there's a lot, like in the UK, we're really spoilt for choice. Like vegan ham at the moment is a big part of my diet because it's so high in protein. Yeah, my diet personally is quite heavy in vegan meats because they are so packed full of protein. It's just a really easy way to make sure that you're healing and recovering well. Why would you call plant-based meat, fish, eggs, dairy products, and milk, eggs, fish, and dairy products when they're not? I don't know why people have a problem with this. When we look at language when it comes to food, we are trying to relate to what people kind of like understand it to be, or a descriptor. So for example, peanut butter. Peanut butter doesn't have any butter in it at all. Toad in the hole. Toad in the hole does not contain any toad. It actually contains pig. Nobody complains that it's called toad in the hole. It doesn't, it's got nothing to do with toads. It just could maybe look like a toad in a hole, even though it doesn't, but nobody complains. You know, like bubble and squeak doesn't have bubbles in the, like, a hot dog doesn't contain dog. In fact, typically contains pig. We are just trying to explain what something's like so people know when they pick it up and eat it, what it's probably going to taste like. Or it will have some sort of cultural significance or some historical significance. I don't know why people have a problem with these kind of like terms like vegan burger, vegan hot dog, you know, like the vegan version doesn't contain dog, doesn't contain pig. The non-vegan version doesn't contain dog, but it contains pig. Like, I don't know why it's suddenly a problem as soon as it's a vegan thing. What about cow milk? What about cow milk? Hot dog is not a dog, or is it? Remember, loads of beef was discovered to be horse years ago and people were horrified. Why eat beef, cow, but not horse? Yeah, it's just speciesism. Speciesism is a massive problem where, you know, we see some animals as eating animals and other ones as animals to, you know, maybe exploit in other ways, like we do with dogs, horses. Yeah, I don't get people's fixation on dairy milk. It's coming from a cow. Saturday made 6 years vegan for me. Wow. Can you put a 1 in the chat if you're a vegan? Put a 2 in the chat if you're not a vegan. It would be really interesting to see who's vegan and who's not. Eggs are life, not food. I mean, the problem is with an egg, you know, we are talking about day-old male chicks being ground up alive. We were doing some outreach. Hey, we got some ones. We were doing some outreach, Vegan FTA, in London on Wednesday, and a woman started crying because she saw baby chicks being ground up alive, being put into what is called a macerator, which is essentially an industrial large blender. You're trying to be vegan. That's fantastic. Not yet, but will be. I like that mentality that you will be. You know, definitely, you know, aim towards that and get there, because the animals need us to be vegan. But yeah, you don't eat eggs, fantastic, because yeah, as I'm saying, you know, what are the numbers for? Just whether or not people are vegan. Just 1 for vegan, 2 for not. Yeah, they are macerated day old, or they can be left to suffocate to death. No, cow milk is not vegan. It is not vegan at all. Dairy milk is atrocious. I don't know why people keep requesting to join over and over again. If you keep spamming it, you're definitely not going to be invited. I can tell you that much. So it's a weird thing to do. Cow milk is for calves. It is disgusting. Absolutely. It's for their babies. It's for their babies. Now it's the beginning of the vegan age. It's really interesting. When we were doing outreach in London, I saw what I haven't really seen. Like it's increasing in the number of times it happens, where people will come up and they'll see the sign that says something like veganism is a moral obligation, prove me wrong. And they will be like, well done, you know, I agree with you, this is fantastic. And usually, like beforehand, there would be like basically no support. So the support is rising, and it's like a quiet minority that is increasing. Veganism is the future, whether or not we want to admit it. Yeah, it is the future. It is, you know, we are progressing constantly as a species, and this is just kind of the next wave. And, you know, we have a very annoyed, like, minority at the vegans. But I think people know deep down that it's the right thing to do, or just stopping doing already a wrong thing, you know? Hello, everyone joining. I hope you're well. As a vegan, we need to research and become smarter. This isn't a question, but standing ovation to you. Well, yeah, I think it's important if you are part of a movement to become well researched. Just because obviously when it comes to veganism, it's a very contentious topic. People get very annoyed. And it's good to know, if people have questions, the answers to them. That is the hope. Obviously, we can't be an encyclopedia and know everything. And, you know, a lot of the time vegans have to have the answer to everything. Otherwise, someone's not going to bother, which is this ridiculously high standard to put on, you know, a group of people. But it's good to know as much as possible, definitely. So as was said, this is Ask a Vegan. So if you have a question, ask away. We'll go for about another 10 minutes, unless loads of questions flow in. Animal milk is not for human consumption. Couldn't agree more. Fantastic. How long has everyone in the chat been vegan for? Thank you for your support and time. Well, thank you. Yeah, if you have questions, just throw them away. throw them in here rather. There are so many different animals being exploited, tortured, abused. How do we not spread ourselves too thinly? I've spoken about this before in other lives. I think it is a lot of internal work that you need to do in order to just feel like you can't control things. You can't control how other people are going to behave. As much as people like to say vegans are forcing their views on people, we cannot actually force people to do anything. As much as we have an idea of how the world ought to be, and you know, we can demonstrate that it would be a better world, you know, if people were vegan. Unfortunately, we don't have the power to stop people from eating animals. We don't have the power to stop them from murdering humans. We don't have the power to do that. I think it's just important to exercise the inevitable fact that we can't control people, and that you can only do your part. You can only do what you can with your time, and you know, that is, you are doing a good thing in doing that. I think things will improve. I think people are becoming more peaceful. They are becoming better. You know, when we control for population and everything like that, the world is becoming more peaceful according to some data. So we just need to run with that and emanate that ourselves and try and spread that. Aren't we doing more harm to animals when we try and teach meat eaters that violence to voiceless animals is wrong? They eat more animals just to respect their ego and try to bring vegans down. How can you establish that? Is there any data at all to show that people are actually eating more on the net? Because there will be people who get triggered by what you say and are like, I'm going to go and eat a steak because of you. Okay, grant that. But then what about the people who never eat animals ever again? What about the people who are like, you know what? I've thought about what you said. I'm going vegan to this day. And then never do it again. Like, we don't have the data to show, oh, this is causing more like a net negativity. We don't have that. So I wouldn't hold strongly to that viewpoint. If suppose a future scientists give evidence regarding that microbes have sensation and feel pain, then you would still be committed to be vegan, because again, we would be involving less cells, less plants in a system where we're just eating them directly rather than like feeding them firstly to the animals to exploit and kill them as well. So even if this were to happen, we would still be compelled morally to be vegan. It would still be the case. Hello everyone joining. I hope you're well. If you have any questions for a vegan, please leave them in the comment section. There is a chat box with a question mark. I hope you're all okay. Coming in. People are coming in. People are going. I hope that you enjoy these lives from Vegan FTA. Just to let you know as well, we do have a YouTube channel. Check it out, Vegan FTA. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get you can see these lives after the fact, and you can see other videos that we're doing. I was speaking about outreach that we've been doing. You can check that out over there as well. I see animals inside stores and hear their sounds. I feel constantly disappointed and emotionally overwhelmed. Is there any way to cope with this pressure? Definitely therapy would be good. I think we are traumatized by what we've witnessed. Like, I certainly feel quite traumatized. You know, I've been into farms. I have seen animals in terrible states, and I think about them often, and it's been years. It is a traumatizing thing. It's definitely something that you should, you know, maybe have counseling or therapy for. Yeah, and then seeing that, especially over and over again, because some of us, you know, is part of our job to be looking at horrible things that happen to animals. So firstly, therapy, and secondly, just maybe looking at more of the positive stuff as well would be really good to help to balance it out, and to do, become active as well, I think is a big thing. Like knowing that you are doing your part to make up for when you weren't vegan, or trying to do your part so that you can like inspire other people to follow suit, I think can make someone, like, as well as being a powerful tool in changing our direct environment, it can also be good for the mental state to be like, I am actually trying to do something about this, I would say. Thank you for doing things like this. It helps to have an association with everyone here. It is also good to remind ourselves that we do not have to have all the answers. No, you don't have to have all the answers. And yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of these lives on Instagram. We're also going to be doing these lives over on YouTube and Facebook. So make sure, we aren't just on Instagram. We are also on all the other platforms. We're on Threads, which is part of Instagram. We are like trying to go live as much as possible so we can have these spaces for community, so people can be asking these questions, so we can, just keep all of these conversations going. And so that vegans also feel like they have a space where they can maybe vent their frustrations, ask questions within the movement, So, yeah. Anyone have some final comments? Just leave them in the chat if you want. Thank you for all of your great work. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Vegan FCA works really hard all day, around the clock, trying to provide content that will reach people to inspire them to change their habits, to align better with one that actually considers the rights and autonomy of animals. So, really important work that I think my team are doing, and I really appreciate them. How to find a vegan wife. There are apps. There's Vegly, and there's one called, is it Graze? There are actually vegan dating apps. So get on there. You may find a vegan wife. I'm from Portugal. How can I start involving in animal activism? A really good place to go is on Facebook. You will probably find in your local area, if you just kind of search your local area, you will probably find people in your location who maybe do like potlucks or specific outreach or flyering or things like that. If they only do things like vegan meetups, it would be good for you to be maybe it calls for you to be the person who actually goes out and does activism yourself. Now, depending on the laws of your country, because I know that some laws can stop you from being one person doing this, but even as one person, you can go out and be active. Like we went and did outreach, FTA, and it was me and a camera woman. It was just us. So technically it could have just been me doing it, but obviously we had a film person there so we could record the event, and then we can get more eyes on what we were doing. So really, you can just do it yourself. So that is something maybe to consider if you are like, I can't find anyone in my area who is doing what I do. Then do it yourself, and you actually might find people who come up to you and you're like, they're like, I want to do this. And you'd be like, okay, cool, give me your WhatsApp or your Instagram, and we will like find a time to do this together. And before you know it, you're growing a community all by yourself, which can be a really daunting thing, but can also be pretty awesome, right? Sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments. A lot of vegan groups show horrific videos of animals being abused. I wish these posts had an NSFW filter on, because most of the people watching and the videos are vegan, so we don't need to see it so much. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, we do then end up ingesting a lot of content that's really negative, that's really hard to ingest. And I know what you mean. I like have seen some groups that I've just had to personally leave because it's just too much. There's no like positive animal rescue stuff happening, and that's why like Vegan FTA kind of does the balance, and I personally think that Vegan FTA have got the balance done well, where they will show, you know, the rescued animals, the animals who have made it, and then there's also a reminder of the conditions that these animals are in, and there is kind of a limit to the NSFW, and a lot of that stuff ends up getting flagged by Instagram anyway, and it will be blurred, even stuff that hasn't got anything really bad in it. So you won't see too much of that on Vegan FTA, which is you know, good if you're already vegan. It's just quite difficult because obviously vegans are aware of what's happening. They want to inform people of, you know, what's happening to animals, and the people who have that interest are a lot of time going to be vegan. Why would it be bad that I'm an animal lover and an omnivore? Because it wouldn't really matter your feelings in that sense. It would be more what's happening to the animals. So if you're a practicing omnivore, then you are paying for animals to be exploited and killed. So it'd be a problem because you're paying for animals to be exploited and killed. That would be the problem. And the whole animal lover thing is quite difficult because it's like, what does love mean? If it can encompass a relationship where you're paying for someone to be killed. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, I love my partner so much, that's why they ended up in a bacon sandwich. Someone would be like, did you love them if you killed them or you paid for someone to kill them? Like, there are people who do that. You know, you hear about these murder stories where someone has paid for their wife to be killed, and then one of the first things that someone like thinks is, how were they your wife and how did you love them if you paid for them to be killed? I don't know. It's a weird one to me. I don't understand it myself. I don't think it makes sense, because I think if you call yourself an animal lover while you're not vegan, then it's kind of like changing what love means so much that it doesn't mean anything, you know? Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit confusing to me. Okay, I think that's all the questions. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined. Please make sure you are following Vegan FTA on our other platforms. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter, or it's called, what is it called now? X. You know, we're also on YouTube. You know, hit the bell notification on YouTube, you know, so you get all the updates. Thank you so much for your support. I do hope you're well. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Okay?